reputation of being the first and in some cases the only in the things that we do. And we're a leader among sectors and accomplishments. In preserved farms, #1 in the nation. We think about the young farmers under the age of 35, more in PA than any other place in the nation. We're a leader in dairy and livestock and poultry. We top the state in direct-to-consumer sales as well. But like crops or new additions to the herd or flock, these accomplishments did not just happen. We planted, we cultivated, we nurtured, we grew, and we reaped. It was the voices of the farmers who changed the trajectory on the Chesapeake Bay, resulting in the best report in 20 years in our work for the Chesapeake Bay. It's the partnership with industry that has driven our high-path AI response and recovery. The PA Farm Bill continues to make us in Pennsylvania better. It was the farmers who provided the food to our food system and our charitable food system. You told us we needed an animal health lab in Western Pennsylvania. It's our farmers who push for progress through the nation's only Ag Innovation Fund, balancing sustainability and production. You helped us plan what to plant so we could have a bountiful harvest. But there's more planning to do. We look forward to that state where we continue to make those investments. We plan and plant and harvest. I'm encouraged every day by Governor Shapiro and the vision that he has laid out in the economic strategy, the economic vision for Pennsylvania, with ag at the center, by the way. And the governor has worked energetically with the General Assembly and partners to bring this strategy to life, to lay down the foundation of actions and investments. I've been with the governor many times, and I know a few things to be true. He's competitive. He believes in the future of Pennsylvania that runs right through our farms. He's not just concerned about this generation, but it's the next and the one after. So while accomplishments in history are remarkable, he's not complacent with just standing still. He'll text me early in the morning to say, "Did you read this? What do you think about this issue?" Fill in the blank. He reaches out to our state veterinarian on Christmas Eve when we're responding to high-path AI. He specifically asked for the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau to attend events. Just ask Chris. He's asking questions and eager to be in the field and in the barns to hear what you have to say about Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania agriculture. The governor's commitment to agriculture we have seen many times, beginning as Attorney General in his work with Acre and his amplified and steadfast commitment as governor. So we have a chance to welcome the governor. I'm always honored to be with him, he encourages us. He is an advocate for us. We've seen his commitment through the actions of high-path AI, ag innovation, our charitable food system, and the federal advocacy on issues around trade. I'm honored to serve with the governor every day, whose vision for agriculture is one of prosperity and one of partnerships, a vision that is Pennsylvania. It's my honor to welcome Governor Shapiro today. Governor? So this is where, when I looked at Justin, he gives me hand signals, right? Did everybody see him like 10 minutes ago it was 5? 5 minutes ago it was 3. How many now? Maybe 3. Right. So let me take this moment and just build a little bit on the work that we continue to do to say we simply can't do what we do without you, without the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau. I am humbled every day as I travel the roads of Pennsylvania to look at the landscapes and see how they have changed in so many ways. We've been out to look at the innovation work that's being done through the Ag Innovation Fund, but just also as part of the work that we do in agriculture. I'm particularly proud of our conservation efforts, and I think, as I noted here, I mean, there are things that we think just happened. But as I've looked back over the last number of years, every single success in the agricultural community has had as its foundation the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau. I think about what happened with the creation of the Animal Health and Diagnostic Commission when we had the HiPath AI in the 83-84 time period. What has happened since in the creation of how we manage and steward our conservation work through the creation of the State Conservation Commission. When we think about the PADLS system, the Animal Health and Diagnostic System that we have created in Pennsylvania, right? We're proud of linking our land-grant university with the veterinary medical school at Penn Vet, with the diagnostic lab in Harrisburg. But we also know, as I noted, we needed something west of I-99, right? It never felt right as we traveled west. How many folks here are from the western parts of Pennsylvania, from the western side? Yeah. A really, really important and big part of Pennsylvania agriculture. But it never felt right not to have access to animal health laboratory services. It's been talked about for years. The governor, I'm sure, will expound upon this, but to say that we're really proud to now, for the first time, to have an animal health lab in the western part of Pennsylvania. It's coming online. It'll be in Beaver County at the Penn State campus, and we'll have the full service that we have at the other 3 labs available to the farms and the animal community, if you will, in the western part of the state for the very first time. That didn't happen without a lot of advocacy and the voices of Farm Bureau to make that happen. We also know that the work that we continue to do in innovation continues to transform what Pennsylvania looks like, right? In the very first edition of the Innovation Fund, which is conceived by, in the Research Fund, you sort of identify solutions. Through the Innovation Fund, you fund those solutions. And it's really been fun to sort of see what has happened across Pennsylvania, to see the innovation that we saw last week at Metzler Wood Products, to see things that are happening all the time across Pennsylvania. So we're proud of that. Again, the advocacy of Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, very, very much appreciated. And then to sort of close out to say that we have really appreciated the relationship with Farm Bureau and the Positively Pennsylvania magazine and the work that you did. I'll look at Will and David and the folks who wrote that, and we're honored, my wife and I, to say thank you for recognizing our family, recognizing the work that we have done across Pennsylvania as a family, as proud Farm Bureau members as well. But to recognize us with the Distinguished Service Award last November, very humbling, very grateful, and we thank you for that. All of the invitations that now come to the department of inviting me to things for Farm Bureau events, they also put a PS on the bottom inviting Nina, right? So I know that she had an impact at the annual meeting. So let us pause for a moment, right? Still getting the 2-minute sign. Let's pause, and I'll come back up and introduce the governor when he arrives. Thank you. Okay, if I could, we'll pick back up. We're honored to have the governor with us. As I was saying earlier, you know, I feel really privileged to work with Governor Shapiro. I've told you he's competitive. I've seen it. I've been with him enough to know that his heart is in agriculture. We have stood in barns, we've been in the fields, we've been in hemp operations and with digesters and cows and food of all types. And every time it resonates with me that this is a guy who sees Pennsylvania's future in agriculture and Pennsylvania's future. He's out there, he's advocating, he's been a really wonderful voice for what we've done so far. But back to my theme about planting and harvesting. First, you got to plant before you harvest. We planted some really, really important work 2 years ago. That work continues. We see it in the Innovation Fund, we see it in the Western Lab, we see it in the things that we're doing, but there's more planting to do, right? And we'll see that inside of the economic development strategy, which the governor will talk about. But I'm honored to be with him, honored to serve. I appreciate his vision for Pennsylvania. He has been kind in his work that we have done. I've appreciated that on his very first days, he came to the vet lab at the Department of Agriculture to say thank you to the workers that were in the animal health and diagnostic lab for the work that they did. And in that one move, it sort of told a story for me that at the end of the day, the people that work with us and for us and the appreciation for that can always be recognized with supervisors. But it's rarely recognized by governors to walk into a lab and do that. And how thoughtful and how important that was as a statement of the value of those folks as human beings, as public servants in the work that they're doing in agriculture. So I am anxious and eager to plant and to harvest. The gentleman who's going to help us do that is here today with us, Governor Shapiro.
Thanks, everybody. Well, good afternoon. It is good to be with all of you, and let me begin by saying thank you to Secretary Russell Redding for his extraordinary leadership and the work he does every single day for agriculture, for our farmers, and for being one of my most trusted advisors. I am grateful for his service to the Commonwealth, and I believe we have the finest agriculture secretary in the entire United States of America. We're blessed to have your service. Thank you. I know we're joined today by many members of the General Assembly. They are our partners in progress here. I want to single out just a few who are with us here on the dais, the chairs of the relevant committees. I want to thank Chairman Pashinsky, who is with us, and Chairman Mao from the House. Thank you both very much for the important work you do. And I want to thank Chairwoman Schwank, and I know Chairman Vogel can't be with us, but these four leaders work together every day to help advance agriculture across our Commonwealth, and I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. You know, I couldn't be more honored to be your governor and to be here again for what I think is a critically important conversation about the future of agriculture in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You know, when I first joined you as your governor, just a few months after I took the oath of office, I made a commitment that we would put agriculture at the center of our work to grow our economy here in Pennsylvania and to create opportunity for farmers all across our Commonwealth and help our ag industry grow. That we would take advantage of the incredible strengths in agriculture, that we would address the unique challenges that our farmers face, and that we would develop a comprehensive strategy to grow and take agriculture to new heights here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and across this great country. I told you that agriculture would be a top priority of my administration, and I'm back here today to tell you that together we've delivered. That is in big part thanks to the extraordinary partnership that we have with the folks in this room and the Farm Bureau here in Pennsylvania, who do incredible work representing you every single day in the halls of power. I want to say a special thanks to your president, Chris Hoffman. I want you to know that Chris has become a special advisor to us. We seek his counsel. We listen to his input. As we think about our strategy on agriculture, Chris has a seat at the table. And by Chris having that seat at the table, each and every one of you are being heard in our administration. We are better off in Pennsylvania thanks to Chris Hoffman's service and thanks to the work of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau. Chris, thank you very, very much. Appreciate you. Thank you. You know, as governor, I've spent a whole lot of time visiting your farms. I've spent a whole lot of time really listening and learning from each of you. I've kept those experiences front of mind as we've worked together to get stuff done for agriculture. It was thanks to those conversations, to listening to all of you, that just about a year and a half ago, we unveiled the Commonwealth's first economic development strategy in more than 20 years. A targeted plan that for the first time puts agriculture right at the center of our Commonwealth's work about economic development. Our economic development strategy is no longer limited to the high-rises in our big cities or the sprawling suburban office parks. Now our economic development strategy also runs right through Pennsylvania's farmlands. We, of course, know that Pennsylvania is home to over 53,000 farms and an especially high number of small and mid-sized family farms, farms that have been passed down from generation to generation. We're proud of that legacy. We are proud of that history, but we always have an eye on the future. We understand how agriculture is such big business. 600,000 of our fellow Pennsylvanians work in agriculture. It contributes $132 billion to our state's economy. To ignore that, to leave that on the sidelines of any economic development conversation, is not only disrespectful to our farmers, but it doesn't make sense economically. That's why over the past 2 years, we've made meaningful investments to help our farmers get ahead and to help you address some of the biggest challenges that I know you face. In just my first 2 years, working with our partners in the legislature on a bipartisan basis, we fully funded the PA Farm Bill, funding critical initiatives that help young people connect to ag, from dairy herd management apprenticeships to the urban ag programs in our schools, showing young people that a future in our farms is a future that can be bright. Funding that connects our farmers to local schools to put fresh Pennsylvania produce in students' hands, helping farmers improve soil health and water quality on the land that they steward, and a whole lot more. On top of that, we opened up a brand new Organic Center of Excellence that is supporting Pennsylvania's strong organic farm and food business, a new center of plant excellence, helping drive new research and innovation and business growth to ensure we remain a national leader in the green industry. And we expanded PA Preferred to be able to offer marketing grants to help our farmers and food businesses find new markets and new customers. I want you to know Pennsylvania is already number 2 in direct-to-consumer sales. We're number 3 in the nation for organic sales, with more than $1 billion in organic sales every year. But hear me on this, I don't want to settle for second or third place. I'm competitive as hell. I want us to be first in everything. And I believe working together, we can be. That's why I'm serious when I say we need to give our farmers the same access to capital that we would give a startup in another industry, be it life sciences or energy or anything in between. Because if we really want to lead as a Commonwealth. We have got to empower our farmers who want to embrace the latest technologies to produce more crops more quickly and harvest the newest advancements in animal ag. You know, when I was campaigning for this job more than 2 years ago, something I heard over and over again from our farmers was that they needed more capital to be able to invest back in their farms. They wanted to adopt the latest technologies to increase output, but they needed just a little bit of help. So last year, we came together, Democrats and Republicans alike, to create the brand new Ag Innovation Fund in Pennsylvania, putting $10 million in farmers and ag producers' hands in the form of grants and loans and technical assistance to help them go out and buy new equipment, incorporate new technology that will enable them to work more quickly and more efficiently. This fund is a game changer for farmers who want to bring cutting-edge tech to their operations, and we are now leading the way on the first in the nation Ag Innovation Fund that's having a real impact. You know, when we sought out applicants, when the Secretary sought out applicants for the first round of these innovation grants, we received 159 applications requesting $70 million in funding. Remember, the initial fund was $10 million, and we received $70 million worth of quality requests. So in this year's budget, I have asked lawmakers of both parties to approve an additional $15 million for ag innovation, bringing our total investment in this important space to $25 million for our farmers. But listen, giving farmers more access to capital, well, that's only one part of solving the problem. We also need to move at the speed of farming and keep up with the pace that you set every single day on your farms. I know farmers need to move more quickly to begin production and get their product to market. I know in the past, government could sometimes slow you down in that process, but we've already made real progress on that front in moving a whole lot quicker and working in partnership with all of you as opposed to in opposition. Let me give you just a few examples. We're proud of the permitting reform that we've done in this state and proud of the progress that we've made, and we're now a national leader in that space. At the Department of Agriculture, food establishment renewals have seen an 88% decrease in processing times. And since I took office, Ag has processed more than 75,000 permits, licenses, and certifications in 70% less time than they did back in 2022. I want to thank Secretary Redding and his extraordinary team at the Department of Agriculture for their great work in this space. Please put your hands together for them. They're making great progress. Those are just two examples of many at how we are moving at the speed of farming. We're moving more quickly, getting farmers the answers they deserve, and we are, of course, again, investing in ag and ag innovation. So as we continue to invest in our farmers, we'll also continue to have your backs in the face of real serious challenges. 2 years in a row, in both of my first two budgets, we delivered tens of millions of dollars for our state's high-path avian influenza recovery fund to support farmers whose flocks were wiped out. We are the only state in the nation with this type of dedicated funding to help our poultry farmers get back up on their feet. We also, importantly, want to stop the spread of diseases across our farms. I'm proud that we came together to fund the opening of a new state laboratory in Beaver County in western Pennsylvania to expand our testing capacity and help mitigate future disease outbreaks. This is something that was talked about for so many years in the Capitol. We came together and we got it done. We heard from Chris, we heard from all of you, we knew it was a priority, and we made it happen. As High Path has spread to dairy in other states, we've remained proactive and aggressive here in Pennsylvania, establishing a nation-leading surveillance testing system for milk at the processor level. Because of our aggressive approach to testing and to quarantine plans, we have successfully reduced the threat of avian flu and haven't had a positive test after taking nearly 15,000 milk samples. In the last 5 years, since we've had a statewide recovery fund, we've only had to spend $13 million to help our poultry producers cover the costs they incurred in responding to outbreaks on their farms. Which leaves us today, this is an important number for you to know, it leaves us today with $61 million in our High Path Avian Influenza Fund to be able to support our farmers. More than enough to meet the needs of our poultry farmers and see them through this crisis. But hear me on this. Should we need more, you have my word, I will be there to make sure our poultry farmers have what they need to get back up on their feet. Again, we are the only state that had the vision to create this fund, and we've got $61 million in the fund should you need it. Look, I also recognize this is not something that we can fight alone here in Pennsylvania. It's why I work closely with my fellow governors, especially in our neighboring states, and why Pennsylvania has always depended on a critical partnership with the federal government when it comes to responding to the avian flu and much more. Despite all the change in Washington, our administration remains actively engaged with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and our congressional delegation to secure resources and assistance that our farmers need. I recently met, together with Secretary Redding, with United States Department of Agriculture Secretary Rollins in her office in Washington, D.C., to talk about how we can continue to work together to address avian flu. And it is my hope that this partnership will continue. But in the rare cases where the federal government goes back on their word to our farmers, I'll be prepared to step up and defend our farmers and defend our agriculture sector. That's why when just a couple weeks ago our administration received notice from the USDA that they had decided to abruptly and unlawfully cancel a contract that would have driven out $13 million in grants to local food purchase assistance initiative, we filed an immediate legal appeal demanding that the federal government honor its obligation to Pennsylvania farmers and food banks. I want to thank Chris Hoffman for joining me at the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank a couple weeks ago when we announced that intent to appeal, where he lent his voice to advocate for farmers who are losing out because of this decision. Understand that contract, and it was a legally binding contract, was only 4 months into a 3-year deal that helps local food banks purchase food from 189 different farms all across Pennsylvania. We keep every dollar we get from the federal government here in Pennsylvania. It's for Pennsylvania food banks and Pennsylvania farmers. And it's a virtuous cycle, and it's been enormously successful over the last several years. For many of those 189 farmers, that represented 10 to 15% of their entire market. It had a devastating impact when they learned that that funding was going to be unlawfully stopped. Not to mention the hungry folks who go to bed without food from a local food bank that they need. With the abundance of food that is produced here in Pennsylvania, we shouldn't have 1 out of every 5 kids going to bed hungry in this Commonwealth. And when we have an initiative that addresses that concern, we ought to embrace it. We ought to endorse it. We ought not to walk away from it as the federal government is doing. I don't understand how partnering with our farmers and feeding people doesn't align with the federal government's priorities. I believe they should reverse course and honor the contract with Pennsylvania farmers and with our food banks. But listen, I'm not going to let our farmers get screwed in this process. I'm going to continue to advocate for every single dollar that you are owed. I'm also mindful that farmers are facing an even bigger threat right now. The losses that are likely to come, the uncertainty that is already here as global markets are roiled by the president's tariffs. Last week, the federal government, I believe, imposed reckless and dangerous across-the-board tariffs on our trading partners that threaten the markets that I know you have worked so hard to build. Pennsylvania farmers and our ag sector, well, you probably understand this better than nearly any other market out there. A tariff, of course, is a tax by another name. It increases the price of goods for consumers and suppliers. So when other nations like Mexico and others retaliate against our tariffs, that raises prices for Pennsylvania products abroad. As a result, our farmers lose market share and your sales suffer. Understand, this is not theoretical, and this is not some political statement. This is the reality, and you've already lived through it. Let's go back to 2018, when the same president imposed really modest tariffs compared to what he's imposed today. You all remember what happened then. The first Trump administration was forced to make $27 billion in payments for lost income to farmers in Pennsylvania and all across the United States. All of the tariffs that were raised back then went to paying farmers for lost market share. Think about that. The last time around they did this, farmers suffered. You all know that. And as a result of that, every dollar they raised had to go back to paying farmers for lost market share. And also, once we lose a market, and I've seen this sadly play out too many times with our farmers, it's not guaranteed that farmers will get that money back or get that market back. Let me give you a concrete example of that here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania exports $4 billion in agriculture products and goods, and we are, of course, the top exporter of hardwoods and forest products in the entire country. We should be proud of that. The tariffs that were put in place back in 2018 resulted in the loss of over $1 billion in sales every year for the American hardwood industry. Pennsylvania was particularly hard hit. And still to this day, nearly 7 years later, the industry has not made up for those losses the first time around. They lost market share back then and haven't gotten it back. Domestic production of hardwood lumber has declined by 50% since 2017. And that means fewer jobs in the hardwood industry here at home in Pennsylvania. Just last week, I was with Secretary Redding at Metzler Forest Products in Mifflin County, a wonderful place doing great business. Well, I know Metzler sells most of their products domestically. Tariffs have roiled our domestic markets because of the uncertainty those tariffs create. I'm worried about them. I'm also worried about our dairy farmers, who, as you know, export more than $170 million of dairy products here every year to Mexico, more than any other country in the world. Your products will cost more to sell there, and so as a result of that, Mexicans are likely to buy less, or that market will be shut off to many of our dairy farmers. I know these tariffs are going to make it harder for our farmers to get by, and I want you to know I'm going to continue to stand up and speak out against it and have your back. You know, for all of the talk about bringing companies and industries back to the United States, our farmers are already here. They're already doing business in this Commonwealth and in this country. And I believe they are being unnecessarily hurt by these trade wars. I don't know why the federal government is doing this to our ag community, but I want you to know that here in Pennsylvania, we give a damn about our farmers. We give a damn about our ag community, and we are going to continue to stand up for you. Instead of harming you, we're going to invest in you. We're going to make sure there are more dollars appropriated to support you. We're going to make sure we continue to move at the speed of farming here in Pennsylvania. We're going to continue to build on our successful Ag Innovation Fund. We're going to continue to support Penn State's College of Ag Sciences. We're going to continue to make it easier for groups of farmers to come together and to buy in on a common methane digester so they can generate energy to run their farms and their neighboring communities. We're going to cut red tape so farmers can move more quickly. Our administration is all in on your success today and well into the future. We're going to continue to invest, and I want you to know I'm going to continue to listen. I want to say thank you to Chris for having me today, but I want to say a special thank you to all of you who have invited me to your farms, who have helped us listen and learn, and ultimately turn that into real action. Action that's been driven by the lawmakers up here and sitting out there, where we work together in a bipartisan manner to try and get the job done for all of you. I believe that there are few things more noble in life than feeding our fellow Pennsylvanians, than feeding our neighbors. It's the Lord's work that you're doing every single day in your farms and in your businesses. And I came today to say a sincere thank you. I appreciate you all very much. Pennsylvanians appreciate you very much, and I'm going to continue to have your back. Thank you all. God bless you. Appreciate you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thank you for having me. You got it. Let's stay together on all this.